for a blood clot, a very serious condition, 2 weeks ago. But initial reports had been that he was in good shape, and so this comes as a very, very terrible surprise, adding to other bad events that happened this year. And I think many football fans, but especially Argentina fans, especially Napoli fans, will be grieving tonight a lot more than an icon. He was an example for many football fans. He was a symbol of underdogs triumphing against the odds, and unfortunately, it was difficult for him to separate real life from football. And he was someone who could not be contained both on and off the pitch.
Could not be contained. You know, Igor, my childhood and I guess a good part of my adult life has been basked in the eternal argument: who's better, Pele or Maradona? And Pele, by contrast, was, as you describe it, a choir boy next to Maradona, the bad boy.
Yes, both are arguably the two greatest players in football history. Both were larger-than-life characters as well, but in different ways. Pelé is the gender that every family dreams to have, and Diego Maradona was the bad boy who was unpredictable both on the pitch and off the pitch. What your contributor said earlier is that it was difficult for him to contain the attention and the solicitations around him since moving to Barcelona, where he started being addicted to cocaine. And then after that, in Napoli, he was in touch with some mafia families who obviously played a very bad part in his life. And unfortunately, he was someone who was very much at ease on the football pitch. But as soon as he stepped out of the football pitch, he sometimes looked as though he did not really know what to do with his life. And he remained in touch with football until the end. He coached Argentina, then he coached a club throughout the world, and lastly in Argentina again. And obviously, football was his life, but it was such a drug for him, such an unbelievable force for him that once he stepped out of the field, his physical condition deteriorated, his life went down, his weight went up, and contrary to Pelé, he's someone who struggled to live outside the football pitch, which changes nothing to the fact he remained an incredible influence for his fans, for new fans also coming in, picking an interest in the game, because he represented a symbol of joy. He represented more than the sport itself. He was so passionate about football, and it's a very sad day, of course, for everyone who ever watched him, both live and after his retirement. It's a very, very sad day.
Very, very sad day. Again, a man of many comebacks. You mentioned Barcelona, which was his first club when he moved to Europe in the early 80s. Then, as we were saying earlier with correspondent Seema Gupta, he puts Naples on the map and then returns to Spain at Seville.
Yes, it's quite incredible to think that he suffered a very serious injury at Barcelona, and basically a broken leg. And we don't really know when he started picking up his drug habit, but many observers point to that period as the time when he was recovering, having not yet made an impact in European football, and not really knowing what to do, being extremely anxious about the whole situation. And not only did he manage to recover from this terrible injury, he then proceeded to take out Europe by storm. no single player had as much of an influence on both a club, Napoli, as much as a country, Argentina, as Maradona. Church in Argentina dedicated to him, treating him literally as a god by his staunchest supporters. And his status was unreachable. Even Lionel Messi, who is arguably the greatest player of all time, says that he could carry on playing for a million years. He would never reach Maradona's level because Diego Maradona did something which was unconceivable, taking middle-level teams like Argentina in the mid-80s, like Napoli, and basically bringing them single-handedly with their weight on his shoulders to the top of football, and in doing so, representing an inspiration of individual brilliance, of creativity, of love for the game, which basically no one could come close to. And unfortunately, today might be the right opportunity to say that it was difficult for him to manage this load off the pitch, because he was surrounded with people at Napoli. He was surrounded with bad people who had nothing to do with football and who influenced him in bad ways. And it's impossible for one person to carry such weight on his shoulders without it dripping over into the excesses that we then observed, starting in the 1990s with some positive drug tests, and then, of course, in the 2000s, in 2005, he was already treated. He had bypass surgery in Argentina, and already at the time we were fearing for his life, barely aged 45. It is sad. He recovered from this period of obesity. He took up managerial functions around the world, and he looked in shape. That's why many people wanted to think that he would now carry on, and unfortunately, his life has come to an end.
Yeah, a man of so many comebacks. Igor, one final question. You know, I remember covering the 1994 World Cup in the United States, and we saw a trimmed down Maradona light up the group phase, and we thought, wow, this is too good to be true. And then, of course, the news came in that he'd tested positive for cocaine use.
Yes, that was, of course, a terrible news for any football fan, but that is approximately the time when we felt that his brain was still coming up with the ideas and the movements on the pitch, but his legs couldn't follow, and it seemed like he was suffering from seeing basically his entire life, what had motivated him to play for so long, basically being taken away from him because of time. And he was not a man of timing off the pitch. He was on the pitch the most graceful player, the best player, the best passer, the best scorer. But off the pitch, he didn't know what timing meant, and he didn't know how to plan for retirement. He didn't know what to do with his life, really, when there was no game involved. And yes, but of course, he was also, because Pelé played a lot earlier than him, perhaps the first global superstar in the game, and the first to really leveraged incredible media coverage of in football, starting in the 1980s, which of course contributed to his superstar status and the excesses which we then observed.
Igor Milanovic, we're going to pick up on that point. Many thanks for joining us there. Igor Milanovic, contributor to The Guardian newspaper. If you're just joining us here on France 24, we've just gotten the news. It is still breaking news. The death of Diego Armando Maradona at the age of 60 in the suburbs of Buenos Aires of an apparent heart attack. Well, joining us now, Firas Alechi, who